24-13-7, Class B. Submitted by Witness ZM on Tuesday, July 8, 2008. Young couple encounter something large on Lake Hemet year, 2000 season, 4-month, November date, 16th state, California County, Riverside County. Location details: about a mile down Hemet Lake Road near the picnic area, North Shore Hemet Lake. Nearest town, Moutai Center. Nearest road, off HWI 74, Hemet Lake Road. Observed: my girlfriend and I were on vacation in Idlewild for the week and wanted to hike up to Lily Rock to the fire lookout cabin, but we couldn't get to the main trailhead due to my girlfriend's fear of driving without chains up a black ice-covered road, so we stuck around Hemet Lake for hiking and trout fishing due to the factor that the main roads were more recently snow-plowed and grinded red lava rock laid for more traction. Plus, I had lived in Mountain Center a few miles north of Hemet Lake, so I was pretty familiar with the area and its wildlife inhabitants. I've been hiking, fishing, hunting, rock hounding, and prospecting in just about all of California for the last 20 years, from the Cascades to Azure Canyon. On one of the nights, I think it was the 16th of November, we wanted to go on a night walk around Hemet Lake since the whole city of Idlewild goes to bed at 8 p.m. and it was about 10:30 at night, so we drove the 8-mile drive from our hotel to the lake. We arrived at the lake at about 11 p.m. and sat on the car next to some big green trash bins about 150 feet or so from the lake, when we heard something 400 feet or so breaking branches in a canyon to our backs. It sounded big and didn't seem to care if it was heard coming down the slope, so I assumed it was just a big black bear until the smell. The only way I could describe it was a dying wet dog. A feeling of discomfort came over us both as we saw nor heard any more of what we assumed to be a big black bear coming down the canyon, meaning whatever came down the canyon was hiding in the tree line 300 feet or so away from where we sat. I got a chill up my spine and had that feeling that we shouldn't be here right now. We got in the car and left to come back just under an hour later, hoping whatever it was would be gone, so we could try to finally go on our late-night lake walk. We pulled up and backed into the same spot as before to notice that one of the green trash bins had been pushed over towards the lake, and that there was a 2-foot wide 4-inch deep circular dent like something big had punched it. There was no paint smear like a car had hit it. It was and had been dead quite other than the unknown thing that came down the canyon about an hour before. I had no idea what could have done that to a big steel trash bin and for years until Google Earth mapping of Bigfoot. I saw that there had been sightings, calls, and smells reported in the surrounding area, and came to the conclusion that might make more sense being a believer in cryptozoology. I didn't check for tracks or any other signs due to the lack of info at the time, or I would have also noticed, not that I'm aware of. Other witnesses: my girlfriend at the time, SMCD, a pre-vet major at Cal Poly Pomona, sitting on the hood of her car and admiring the lake with me. Other stories: yes, a staff member named Jeff at Morning Sky, Camp for Troubled Youth near Mountain Center, back in 1994, spoke of a time while hiking near Pine Cove where he had heard strange whopping like cries not native to the area. I don't think he thought was Bigfoot, but he did think it was really out of the ordinary. At the time, reports of that area were common but were not well known to most people. I remember Jeff was avid hunter, fisherman, and hiker, so he knows the average local mountain animals and their calls. Time and conditions: 11 p.m. to midnight, clear night, half moon plus starlight. Environment: there were 2 trash bins about 30 to the south of our car facing the lake and some picnic tables to our east flank 50 or 60 away. The lake was about a good 150 to 200 away from our car, with a pine tree filled Moutai slope to our backs about 300 away. Follow-up investigation report by BFRO investigator Richard Hucklebridge. On the afternoon of July 16, 2008, ZM called me, and we went over his report that he and his girlfriend experienced at Lake Hemet, California, about 8 years ago. The witness was credible and believable in the rendition of his report. At the time of this experience, neither witness thought about whatever it was as being a possible Sasquatch, but more like a bear. Some of the things that I thought might be important in this report are the following: just what kind of feelings did they have and when, and just what was it that you smelled and how potent was it? Also, what kind of trash was in that trash bin, and just how large was the bin that was knocked over? What started this episode was the noise that this creature was making while it was heading down the mountain towards the parking area where the witness and the trash bins were located. It was moving rocks and small boulders, and breaking tree and brush limbs in a very defiant manner as it moved on down the mountain. As soon as it reached the area where the trees were no longer hiding it, which was about 300 foot away from the witness location, it stopped, and everything got real quiet. That is when they believed whatever it was had to have seen them, and that's when the feelings of being watched hit them both hard. The smell hit them a few seconds later. This smell was something like a dead wet dog, but as they breathed it in, the smell choked them up, and they knew at that moment that they had to leave this place now. On their return trip about an hour or so later, and parking at the same location, they both observed one of those large trash bins, about the size of a Jeep or a small pickup, that was knocked over with a large dent in its side. Some of the contents were laying around. What the witness thought was in this trash bin were what the groundskeeping people had put in there. He didn't see anything that he would call human trash like food containers and such, but only tree and bush clippings plus many pine cones. Also, the trash bins didn't stink as most bins normally do. What this witness described has a lot of the trappings of a Sasquatch, by what took place and what was observed by this witness. He now believes it was a Sasquatch. This place might have some bears, but even if it was a bear, they just do not grow them very large in this part of California now, especially as to what this witness described this creature was doing and able to do.
Hey guys, just wanted to kind of go through um, this sighting in Lake Hemet. We did a follow-up investigation. We did a couple of them actually, pretty extensively in that area, and I just wanted to kind of go through things. This report does seem pretty credible, although dated. I mean, it's we're talking, you know, 18 years at this point, almost 18 years. This November coming up on it. A lot of good stuff here. A lot of good information that was kind of fleshed out by the witness first and foremost. The way they described, um, you know, everything he kind of experienced. You know, everything from the Squatch crashing down the tree line um, to is pretty much as described in the BFRO report. Here's the lake down here. Um, we actually we during our last expedition we were able to explore some of this area, but then uh, this part of the lake as well, and then further back up into this hill on this side. Um, as you can see from some of these shots, I don't want to, almost 99% sure that in the report he was talking about this picnic area, and it doesn't show it in this shot here, but there's some green trash cans over here, or there's one green trash can that we saw on the first expedition up there, and let me see if this other shot shows it, but The mountain side's kind of on the back side of over here. That's a footprint we saw. It's not very well defined and it's not very big, but we found it interesting. Um, this was one of our first times out, and we forgot to mark it with anything or use it as a point of measurement. Um, this was another something, not very clear, possibly here. Again, now this is years later when we did our expedition up here. More interesting things kind of in the dirt right here, but that looks like a shoe print to me. Um, but yeah, this shot here is of the I think he was talking about this canyon and possibly it traversed down here, kind of waited them out. They left, and then I'm almost thinking the Squatch crossed the road here, came out to the trash cans, which they're known to do. Probably rummaged it through it. Maybe nothing was in it. Pushed it around. That's how it got the dent. Who knows? Um, and interesting enough, these power poles are here. Now we uh, kind of went up this mountain here on our expedition. This was our probably second or third time out, and we got to the close top of this hill, and one of our team members actually stepped in a wasp nest that was burrowed in the ground, which I didn't really even know they could do. Everybody was fine, but there was about a 10-second moment of panic, 5-second moment of panic. Um, he's prior military. He kind of toughed it out, and we were able to kind of ice it up, and he was fine. We gave him, some Benadryl or something, kind of eased the swelling. But
Oh, that shade is light. Now I can see it.
The Squatch. There's a Squatch. Hello.
There was this like what? Oh no. There was this saw this little video where it was like some guy he bought a gun, right? And he said that little gun saved his life from a grizzly bear. Really? Yeah. It was a little 380 round, right? A little 380 gun. And he said that saved his life from a grizzly bear attack because he said he shot his friend in the leg and took off running and the grizzly bear got him. I was like, oh my gosh.
No. That can't be real.
No, it wasn't. This little gun saved my life. It's accurate and put a wound enough in my friend's foot just enough for me to escape.
That's like murder.
I was like, oh my goodness.
Straight murdering.
It's like
yeah.
it's like that joke when there's a zombie horde chasing someone that shoots you.
Yeah.
Didn't they do that in The Walking Dead? They got like tripped that one guy. Like, you didn't watch that show?
I've seen like the one where they're in the prison.
Yeah, they're like in the.
It was that cop.
It was at night, yeah. It was at nighttime. And he tripped the fat dude.
We're near a known sighting location. SoCal Sasquatch. Yeah, let's just keep going up this because I was gonna like a teepee. Upside down logs. We can see some sign of it from here. We can. Deep back there. What is this? Beautiful country, that's for sure. The what? Beautiful out here.
Is it like a riverbed or something?
get the whole team out here today? Well, minus one, I guess, Johnny. We're at a known sighting location at about 5,000 elevation. What is that? Bunch of wood knocked down.
Yeah.
Almost looks like a nest.
Yep. Get those. What about the down?
Maybe that's what stinks.
Yeah, I think it does smell. Yeah, there's like no exit. Must be pretty area. Yeah.
I think I know who the real Sasquatch is.
Tree down right there, and it looks like it's not level out, but you might be able to get a view.
Yeah. Good.
that. You good, Pablo?
Hear anything of the sound you guys walking?
You heard it. Some of us heard a loud growl from it, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's a scat right there. Look for a scat, see you see. It is big, human looking too.
Oh shit.
So we got Caesar here. Just letting everybody know he's alive. He's good. But we're just gonna let him chime in with a few words. What happened up there, dude? What happened? You know, kind of lead us up the hill and tell us, you know, what went on.
Oh, well, I guess we were just going around walking on the trail, and then we decided to get off the trail a little bit, because we found a bunch of smaller trails to go on, and we found some fallen trees and some stuff that was knocked over, so we said, you know, let's just go up the hill and follow this little path that was kind of just there, you know, that wasn't too thick, so we can definitely get through it. And we're going up the hill, and we just decided to keep going and going and going. We got nearly to the top of the mountain, and we were close to the top. I want to say we were, I don't know, probably, I don't know, you can see the top. It was definitely, you know, if we would have kept going, you would have been able to get to the very top, definitely, and see the whole valley, and see the rest of the mountains. And we had been walking up this little mountain for at least, I want to say at least 20 minutes. We were just getting footage, finding anything we could. Saw a couple animals here and there.
Saw some signs of Squatch, right?
Nothing. Yeah, we even heard a noise. But I don't know if it was captured on the audio. I think you have to just turn it up really loud and you could hear it. But it was like a low moan or whatever, kind of like it didn't sound like anything out there. You know, it wasn't anything loud. It sounded like a person that did it, almost. But obviously, clearly there was no people out there. There's no way. So then it was closer to the evening. It was about 5 o'clock.
Yep.
It was closer to the evening, and we're just walking and walking, and it turns out that one of the turns I made, I was in the front of the group. Turns out I actually stepped on a wasp nest, and they immediately started to attack.
And you got a couple stings.
I got 2 stings on my right leg, and I mean that didn't feel good. Obviously, it's terrible. It was horrible. So I barely remember the incident apart from the pain. And I took off running, and we all took off running, and that's where we called that little trek up the hill off, just because we didn't know if there was more wasp nests. We didn't want the rest of us to get stung. It got too hairy, so we just said, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And then we went back to the bottom. But that's the only reason that footage didn't continue a little longer, is just because it was basically one of those things where one of us got attacked by the wildlife, and we didn't want it happen to anybody else, being that some of us were allergic. I wasn't, thank God, but somebody else, the person that was actually filming, she's allergic to it, so that's why we called it off completely. So we went to the bottom and everything was fine. I just got bit or stung, and it's fine now. It still kind of hurts, but it's not too bad. And then
Well, we're thankful you're okay.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. Nothing else happened.
yeah, nothing else happened. Thank God. I'm kind of glad I'm the one that got stung because I feel like if somebody else would have gotten stung, it probably could have gone a lot worse than it did.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
could have gone downhill
Cool.
much faster, quite literally.
Well, cool. Thank you. Will you still go squatching?
Oh yeah, of course. It's it's part of the game,
Cool. All right. Thanks,
Yeah.
man. Glad you're okay.
Yeah.
We did see some signs up here, and I'll try to include those pictures. Um, it's still fairly remote. Here's another footprint we found, and this is pretty interesting. You can actually see some toe marks. So either some camper was stomping around up on this hill, came off the lake, which is possible, stomping around up in the barefooted, or this is possibly a juvenile Bigfoot print. Hard to tell though. Again, didn't use a point of reference. Should have. You can clearly see the toes here. Um, just some other interesting things. Possibly either a game trail. Maybe it's pushed down a little. Um, that's the other side of the lake. Um, in the they're talking about walking around the lake. This is it. This is the shore here, which is pretty nice. I mean, for the most part, it's pretty sandy. It's not like it gets a little rockier on one side of it there, but for the most part, there's a lot of sandy shoreline. It's probably why the Squatches like it too. They can maybe go out there and who knows what. That's pretty much it, guys. I'll try and roll some other video um, as I find it here and include it. Just wanted to do a follow on like we have been doing to some of these as we kind of are bringing up the old videos and relaunching them. Again, this is that hillside we went up. Didn't see a whole lot other than some stick and tree possible formations. Not a lot of concrete evidence, but it is again pretty remote. I think it's definitely believable report, and even the follow-up investigator, I thought he felt like it probably was too. All right, guys, have a great day.